Hey guys, I never thought that this would ever happen. Whoa, what the fuck? Well, I have good news and bad news. Good news, this isn't my PS3. Bad news, it's his PS3.
Thank you. Thank you, John. That's just nice that you have to do that. Yes, folks, this is my PS3.
Yes, and you haven't made a video about this, why not?
I just haven't had time.
You haven't had time.
I've been at work the entire week.
Okay, whatever. See, Sony, here's the thing you need to understand. You don't realize how much this pisses off your customers, and your only attitude towards this entire thing is, well, it's outside the warranty, therefore it's not our problem. You know what? Fuck you. Really, fuck you. Because, the thing is, since when should they have to worry about backing up their system because you encrypt the hard drive? So now my best friend was towards the end of Final Fantasy 13.
I'm basically on Chapter 12 of Final Fantasy 13, and I was in the middle of a boss battle.
When the fucking thing kicked the bucket.
And that was
Second, the other concern for gamers is, there's no confidence anymore. I expect to buy a box and use it towards the end of its generation. And that's something that we obviously can't do because Sony builds unreliable shit.
Exactly.
And this is awful. Now, look, you know what? I expect my PS3 to last a while because I have done a lot of things to my personal PS3. If this thing was owned by me, it would never have gotten this. Because you know what? Kevin just plays too much games.
Yeah.
I mean...
Excuse me for playing too much games. And playing a lot of PS1 and PS2 games.
Excuse Kevin for actually using his PS3. I mean, what else is this thing for? Why do you buy one of these? Do you buy it so you could just let it sit and expect it to look pretty? No, you buy it to play it. And for any fanboy out there who's going to be like, well, you played it too much. That's a bullshit statement, okay? If you're going to say, well, it's not meant to last forever, you know what? Shut the fuck up, okay? It's not wrong for the consumer to expect these things to last.
I mean, if the 3DO can outlast your system, then there's a problem. That's the way I see it.
I mean, look, Sony.
Yeah.
Do you see any problem with this? Oh, Ylod death. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. What the fuck is that? You guys know what the error code is.
Did you ever post that on YouTube?
What?
The woman saying it didn't exist?
Yeah, pretty much. That was on...
folks, I can vouch for that. I was listening to that live.
Yeah, he was with Skype. Me when I was doing this
granted, my microphone was muted, but I could hear everything. And when I heard that, my jaw dropped.
Like, really?
The
PlayStation 3 is the most reliable of this generation.
No, this is the most reliable of this generation. This system right here. Okay?
Exactly.
And I don't care if people call me a Nintendo fanboy. This thing I've had since 2007.
Okay, you're gonna call.
It's not died.
No. Look, we're gonna call Kevin here a Nintendo fanboy. Look at that. He's got a PlayStation 2. He has a Sega Saturn. He has a Sega Master System. Yes, he has a Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, Sega Dreamcast,
Genesis,
Sega Genesis,
Saturn, Nomad,
Saturn.
Oh, Saturn's down here.
Oh yeah, I mean, you have the Sega CD. You have the Sega 32X. He has an Xbox on the bottom. He has an television, Atari 2600.
Yeah.
What other game systems? You have the Game Gear.
I have an original Game Boy.
You have an original Game Boy.
And these aren't video games, so don't mind those.
Up there, he's got the original PlayStation in its original box. So, is he a fanboy?
I'm not a fanboy.
Only fanboys get the Ylod death, right? Guys, look, this is how stupid this is. And for Sony to not take responsibility for this, how asinine is that, really? Sony, we expect more from you, okay? Not to release shoddy hardware and then say, we're only obligated because of a warranty. No, you should be obligated to help your consumer, your customer. The people who keep you in business, you are obligated to make them happy. and ignoring the problem, charging the customer over and over and over again to have this thing fixed is fucked up beyond belief.
And you know what? I don't get it. How, it's because of us that they're in business.
Exactly.
Us. You can't listen to us. You can't just, take advice from us. No, instead, we're a bunch of idiots. We don't know anything.
And if you call customer service, their customer service doesn't help at all.
Oh, hell no.
They're just mindless zombies who are told what to say and do, and that's it. They can't make decisions. So why the fuck do we call? Oh, if your option is option A, pay us, or option B, pay us, and downgrade and lose all of the fucking features that your original 60 gig had. But then you have gamers like, well, just get a Slim. No, you're missing the point. I should buy my system once, not multiple times. And when you start to have problems like this, we get into what we call the lemon laws. Okay? When you have a machine die on you several fucking times, and it's the same fucking problem, and I don't want to hear anyone out there say that, oh, it's not the same problem. I replaced the power supply with a known, well-working power supply. It's still yellow lighted. I ripped out the hard drive and replaced it with a known working hard drive. It still does this. So, there's only one last place that we have to look. Solder ball cracks. Okay, so that is the problem. We know it is. Now, what we're going to do with this one, we're going to send it out to get reballed.
Yeah, I'm not... I had decided, as soon as this thing got yellowed to death, I had already made the decision. I'm not sending it to Sony. I know the crap that Jack the Bomb here has dealt with. I know some of the crap that, you guys have dealt with. And what's the point? If they don't want to admit that there's a problem with their system, then why the hell should I have to send it to them?
Exactly.
Why?
If they have the attitude, see, here's the problem. What people don't understand: if Sony truly believes there's nothing wrong with their system, they're not going to be proactive with solving the problem. And this is something that people forget, and this is why when people compare the Xbox 360 to the PlayStation 3, it pisses me off. Microsoft took measures to help prevent the red ring of death on consoles that you sent out. They would send you back a console with a bigger heatsink to prevent the red ring of death. My brother sent it in. He hasn't had a red ring of death in 2 years, and he uses his machine more than I use my PlayStation 3.
I thought it took him a lawsuit to get that.
It took a lawsuit from Microsoft to do that.
Yeah.
Now, as I'm saying, because of Sony saying, well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, what you send them is what you get back. A piece of faulty shit.
Yeah.
You're sent back a machine that's just going to die. And there's absolutely nothing you guys can do about it. And it sucks that we have to go out of our way to pay some third party for a fix that Sony should be providing for each other. If Sony turned around and said, here's a classic example I hear. Well, it's not Sony's fault that we have to have lead-free solder. Yes, it is. Okay? Sony, the multi-billion-dollar corporation it is, should say something. If they're like, well, it's the lead-free solder that's doing it. Okay, well, you knowingly sold this shit to your customers, knowing that the solder would crack at some point. And then if you say, well, we should have been able to put leaded solder, then your corporation should have spoken up to our country's lawmakers, said, look, why the fuck do we need lead-free solder in a consumer electronic device? I can understand a toy where some kid's going to put in their mouth, but an expensive box like this, because they classify it as a fucking toy, which this isn't a toy to me. Oh, it has to be lead-free. Since when is some kid going to open this thing up and start licking the fucking motherboard? Okay? There's absolutely nothing wrong with leaded solder when you put it in a device like this. If you open up your mouth and put your mouth to the exhaust of this machine, you're not getting any dose of lead.
I remember a few, when these systems first came out, like you had a lot of these environmental groups, they were grading all the systems based on what they were made of. And they were praising this and the 360 because, they're using lead-free solder and all that kind of stuff. But they failed this system because this is using lead solder.
Really?
And yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, this uses regular lead solder.
Now, well, wait. What trend do we have here? This dumb piece of shit had lead-free solder. The Xbox 360 had lead-free solder, and they both had higher than expected failure rates.
And yet the system with the lowest failure rate has lead solder.
Exactly. Environmentalists can suck my balls, okay?
Yeah.
They serve absolutely no point in this country and in this world. All they do is cause problems. And that's exactly here. We have to waste more money to fix a problem that should never have come up in the first place. You know, for those who are going to say, well, it's an electronic device, or we're going to compare it to a fucking car. Look, every little piece and part that's in this machine, I have in a desktop computer. You know, if my desktop can last me, so many years, why the fuck can't this thing last me so many years? And this has got to end, Sony. You have successfully pissed off a loyal Sony purchaser. You know, I mean, as I said, he has owned every PlayStation system.
I have the original PlayStation 1. I've had it since the Christmas of 1999. It is one of my favorite game consoles of all time, and to this day, it still works.
Exactly.
Okay, my PS2. I've had this since 2005, and it still works.
Exactly.
And, you know, I've only had this since this year.
This summer, you got it. I sold it to you.
Even then, it says it was manufactured, what was it, February 2007?
Yeah, we could show that, actually. That's not going to cause any problems. Sorry about that, guys. So you can see somewhere there.
Yeah, it's February 2007. And it's only lasted, what is that, 5 years? 4 years?
No, you're way off.
Sorry.
You know, so this is very close to one of the launch PS3s. I mean, it isn't a launch PS3. I mean, launch PS3s, they would come somewhere before November 2006. But this is pretty close. This one is one of the older systems, and I tore it apart. I found that it has the older, the first generation power supply. Does this say, you said it says made in China, right?
Yeah, it says made in China.
Well, this has a 19-blade fan as well, and the thing died. I mean, we're going to send it out and get it reballed, because he doesn't want to lose his game saves. But Sony, you have proven time and time again that we can't trust you, because why the fuck do you have an online backup system? You know, what's the point of online backups? Oh, well, what in case your hardware fails? That's interesting. You know, that's something that we shouldn't expect to happen. But you tout it as a pay-for service, that we have to pay money to back up our game saves. Well, maybe you shouldn't encrypt the fucking hard drive so I can take the thing out and restore my game saves. You know, I mean, Microsoft doesn't pull this shit. Why the fuck do you? So, you know, I know this is a long rant, but, you know, we're sick and tired of this shit. We really are.
Yeah.
I mean, I buy a PlayStation 3 to enjoy and have it last. I have every God-given right to be upset when shit like this happens. I mean, there's absolutely no excuse for this shit.
And Sony, you are never going to see a dime from me. Ever again. Not even a penny. Okay? I am never buying any of your gaming products ever again.
You hear that, Sony? And this is